We're about to hit a record on how many videos the Not Enough Nerf channel has effectively put out in 1 week. I think 3 is the maximum I've done, and that was during the busy first couple of months of the channel just to get on board. It has been an absolutely surreal experience trying to get all this full-length content out for you guys, but if I don't do it, I'm gonna get buried in all these blasters, so I don't have a choice. Now, somewhere in there, I did have to throw in a mod video because we can't forget that the enthusiast community primarily loves to modify their blasters, make them better in every regard. One of the things that made this channel get on the map was the fact that we would get household stuff that you can find in the kitchen drawer and effectively enhance the performance of your blaster without breaking the bank. Today, I'm doing exactly that. The Nerf Motoblitz. Been in the market for almost a year. Amazing blaster. Probably the best product, unless you consider the gimmicky double punch to compete with it, that Nerf has put out in the Elite 2.0 sub-brand. Bullpup feeding system similar to the Raven Fire that we love so much, originally called the Raven, and a master key blaster consisting of a 6-shot simultaneous Nerf blaster with a stored air tank propulsion system. Absolutely incredible to bring something out that includes everything that we love already in one package. Lots of reviews on this from your favorite Nerf tubers. I particularly missed the boat on it, but I knew there was going to be plenty of reviews. Maybe one day I'll talk about it a little bit more in depth. But 1 year later, this blaster is available for $13.50 at some Targets. Other ones have it for $14. I believe the most expensive clearance sale that I've seen on this is $19. Walmart's have it for $14.97. That was about a week ago. I don't know if they still have it. If you're not subscribed to us here on YouTube or on Instagram, I suggest you do both. We do post short videos and community posts regarding the sales drops every time a popular blaster goes on clearance. So if you guys are interested in staying in the know-how of all the hot blasters that come out, give us a little follow and a sub, and you'll definitely be getting the notifications every time something like this is being given away like it is now. Today, we're gonna focus on a little project that I got going on where we did some rewiring, we did some flywheel upgrades, and we built a 3S Li-ion battery pack that actually rides inside this hollow scope. We're gonna get right into it. We got a lot of other reviews coming out. We got some X-Shot gel blasters. We got the Dart Zone Max Omnia. Like I said, guys, I am buried in blasters, and that's why we're pumping them out so back to back. We're gonna get right into this mod. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, we are doing this double up rewards kind of thing where every time we double our subscribers, we give away some really good blasters. Started with a Spectrum, a Matrix Fire, and a Tomahawk 60. Then we give away like 5 X-Shot Fortresses. Our last giveaway for 2,000 subscribers was 3 Dart Zone Dictators. I don't know yet what I'm going to give away for 4K, but put your suggestion in the comments and we'll definitely put it on the table into consideration. Without further ado, let's get into some modding. All right, guys, giving you a little peek before we close her right up. A quick rundown on what we did. We replaced the flywheels with some Busby Cyclonic flywheels, which are a bit larger in diameter, increasing the crush a little bit, and they're also serrated, so they get a really good grip on those darts when they're going to eject them. We got rid of all the silly resistors here on this area, so it's just straight current to the motors. We got rid of the silly thermistor that sits here. We won't need that anymore. We ran our harness for our 3S battery, which is going to be mounted inside this rather useless hollow scope here. I'm going to build a longitudinal battery, more on that in the next section. Basically, we rewired to a nice 16 gauge. I believe this thing had a puny 20 or 22 gauge wiring. Kept the stock switches. I didn't see any problems with them. And we went ahead and we tightened up the pressure release valve screw here just a few turns to get that extra little bit of PSI. Gives it a little bit more horsepower for the Blitz launcher. Also, I have wired this blaster in a way that still allows us to use our AA battery tray. I always like keeping both options open. You never know when your LiPo is going to die in the field. You want to pop in some Energizer lithiums in there just to hold you off to the end of the battle. We're going to put her back together and then get to battery building. Let's get it, guys. All right, guys, we got our blaster back together. The first thing we want to do is make sure that the flywheels rev without any interference. Now, these flywheels are much bigger than the stock flywheels. I did have to shave off just a little bit of material off the blaster in a part that comes close to the bottom flywheel. Didn't have any interference after that, but we all know once you put your blaster back together, you do want to do those final clearance tests. Another reason why I also wanted to do this test is I want to make sure my dual battery system works. Now, as tempting as it might be, do not connect both batteries at the same time. There's a completely different kind of wiring and circuitry required for a system like that to take place. Only one type of battery system at a time. Right now, we want to make sure their AA's work, and then we're going to plug in a test 3S battery that I have here. Not going to be the final battery because we're going to build a custom battery for this blaster. We're just going to test both of them right now. We're going to put our mag in, make sure that that switch is depressed. Good to go. Now we're going to take out our AA batteries. We're going to plug in our test 3S battery. Now we're also going to do a different kind of test. We're also want to make sure that these flywheels eject the darts and they're not overly tight to the extent that they won't eject them at all. I'm going to do a test rev. That's the way she revs. I'm going to move right here a little bit just so you can see the dart fire out. If it does, let's hope it does. Oh my goodness. Yeah, she's ready, guys. It's time to build us a battery. Let's get over to our other workbench where we have all our soldering equipment and continue this project. Let's get on with it, guys. All right, guys, so for this one, I decided to build it using this LG DB118650. I have used this battery before. I used it on my Elite 2.0 Phoenix build early on when I first started this channel. We have our 3S battery balance lead. I like using this AC cord from just basic appliance cords. Has a really good gauge. This is for the inter battery terminals that I make. And of course, our ultimate connector. Gonna do an extension cord now. This is actually the first time I build a longitudinal 3S using the 18650 cells. So this is gonna be kind of interesting. It's gonna be kind of goofy looking probably, but that's cool as long as it's functional for this blaster. These batteries are 2600 milliamp each and they got a 10 amp draw. So they're kind of like the in-between for electronics with laptops and your household industrial tools and vacuums. Not that we'll need that kind of amps because the stock motors maximum can probably draw like 2.5. Even the lowest laptop battery allows for a 4 amp draw. So these batteries are always going to be safe. Don't believe what people tell you. Just don't blow up your basement. We're going to go ahead and build this battery pack. I got some black sleeving because the blue sleeving that we normally use for the multiple battery packs is too wide and it won't hug these packs too well. So I'm just going to use standard shrink tubing. This black one is going to go over nicely over these three. Let's get to battery building, folks. If you need any tips on the intricacies of building a battery pack, check out my laptop lipos video. I actually explain really well not only how to take apart these batteries and harvest them from very common battery packs that are out there like laptops and other tools and equipment, but also how to build any kind of configuration battery pack, whether it's 3 by side or the triad pattern like I have here. This pattern is actually really good for multiple applications, or like in this case, we're going to build a longitudinal pack because it's just convenient for the blaster. I actually think that this method will work good for a lot of the longer blaster types that have some room, whether it's in the stock or in this case, the pretty much useless scope that comes with it. We're going to get to battery building and we'll be back when it's done. Let's get it, guys. All right, guys, our battery pack is built. We got our longitudinal 3S. We currently have it on a 0.5 amp balance charge. Probably going to hit high 12s here. Typical when the batteries are freshly charged. It'll level off at 11.1 when it's done. Once this is done charging, we're gonna go back to the blaster and then it's showtime, guys. Let's get it. All right, guys, and there you have it. Our blaster is assembled. Our battery is complete. I'm gonna show you exactly how this gets mounted. Basically, you're gonna pull this little harness out of the way and then you're just gonna insert the battery into the scope mount assembly, making sure that this harness doesn't get dragged by the battery in. And then you're going to connect your battery right here. Now, eventually, I'm probably gonna design some way to nicely tuck this connector somewhere. Of course, the argument can also be made that I can make a 2S battery pack that completely fits in the scope and allows also the harness to be tucked in. But for now, this is our setup. Oh yeah, let's give it a try, guys. By the sounds, I know that this blaster already had some good, more efficient, upgraded motors compared to anything else Hasbro has put out before. It was just kind of like a ninja under the rug kind of delivery because you could never tell with the 4 AA batteries. But if you listen to this blaster now that it has a 11.1 volt power supply, you will easily be able to tell that this blaster is not your ordinary Hasbro product. Very good balance. Now all we gotta do is pop some rounds at our center target, see how it smacks, and send you guys on your way to perform this mount. All right, guys, we got our target mic over there, right behind the automatic target. We are gonna go ahead and try our first round with standard alkaline batteries. These are the Walmart Great Value Alkalines, really good alkaline batteries. They never leak. I use them most of the time on a lot of my non-performance household essential gear like TV remotes and flashlights. Today we're gonna be putting them in our Motoblitz just to do our first round of test. Second round of test, we're gonna do the Energizer Ultimate Lithiums, and then ultimately for our third round, we're gonna try it with our 3S LiPo. Let's get started and pop some rounds at center target, guys. We're gonna be using Adventure Force waffle head darts just to keep performance at a good consistency throughout our test. Were able to see the performance was absolutely amazing. Again, let me remind you, this was a mod that was performed with parts that I already had. You probably have a couple of blasters that are either broken or you just don't play with them in some kind of bin somewhere. Any kind of Busby flywheeler from the era of the Cyclonic, I probably can imagine that would have these serrated flywheels. It's not a big deal to find them. I was surprised the fitment worked because those flywheels I've tried on Strifes and other blasters and they didn't work as well, but they actually worked seamlessly on this blaster with just shaving that little piece of plastic very, very lightly that I mentioned earlier during the mod. So yeah, there it is, guys. If you enjoyed this video, you're definitely gonna enjoy this one. I'll catch you on the next one. Stay blasting, Foam Fam.